Hey guys, my name is Nabiri and it's time for another Synth Saturday, and today I'll be doing another feedback session with 3 tracks that I've attended. And we're gonna kick this off with A Million Dreams by Element Zero.
I close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting up for me, that I call my own. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care, so call me crazy. We can live in a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take.
Okay, so this already sounds really nice. I'm really a fan of this, and I like the whole overall orchestral feeling and how it's mixed down. Personally, I would maybe give the drums a little bit of a bigger feeling, but that's my opinion. But I really like this. But if you look at this through out the track, the whole drop is quite mastered, and over here it's limited as well. But this is just way too quiet. So if you adjust this, I would really recommend you just pull up the volume a little bit more over here, and then you need to rebalance some stuff. But it's really a pity that it's so quiet over here and it's more mastered over here, you know? So I would really try to balance out that volume.
Dreams for the world we're gonna make.
And I like the leads, but if you would have balanced it a little bit differently, like the full track, when you're going into the build-up, I feel that the vocal would need to be a little bit louder, so it stands out a little bit more in front of those leads. And I feel that you could maybe use like a second reverb, or maybe have, if you're already using a second reverb, maybe give that a little bit more room to just play on, because it's still a little bit too dry for my taste. And I would maybe say the lead could use a little bit more highs. But it sounds really promising, and I really like the melody.
A million dreams for the world we're gonna make.
Yeah, I'm really noticing that as well in the drop, that is just a little bit too dry. I would really recommend you're using either some more pads behind there and just using some more reverb on that lead, or yeah, at least give that lead some more reverb.
There's a house we can build, every room inside is filled.
I feel like the if you really push it a little bit louder over here, everything's gonna be a lot more tight. And yeah, I would really fix that. Just try to fix that balancing, and that would be really great.
On a rainy day,
So right now at that outro, you're really hearing that you're using some other layers behind the lead, but I feel you could have pushed those a little bit louder as well. But overall, I just really like the melody, and it really reminds me of an old school cyber track, so it hits a sweet spot for me. I really like it, and it's a great track to start this off with, but I feel maybe the volume balance will be the only biggest thing that it's the issue for this track. And next up, we got Flourian with Dark. Okay, so this is a little bit more dark than the other track, and it's nice, and the vibe you're putting down is okay, but I feel like the sounds that you're using are just a little bit weak. You're really hearing that sub, not that it's too loud, but the sub quite stands out, but on top of that sub there isn't really anything interesting happening, nothing powerful. There's a nice pad which fills a little bit of the background, but there's nothing really carrying it, you know? Also, the vocal feels a little bit too weak in my opinion. You might have brought that a little bit more up front. And on these leads, again, it's just a little bit on the soft side. It's detuned too much so that it really falls apart, and it doesn't really have a powerful lead being the character of it. So I'd really just suggest you put a nice character lead in there and then start building that up with some hypersol support layers. A part of that, I'm curious is where it's gonna go. Okay, so the kicks are sound-wise they're quite okay, but I feel like the punches are too clipped or too limited so that they don't really have an impact anymore, and that's not really that good. Also with that more resonant punch, your also the kick rolls like that. The kick rolls that you're doing aren't really just feeling that right, but it's mainly something in the punch. I feel that it's maybe a little bit two different tones, so you might want to make sure that your punch is literally just purely one tone, because I feel it's just a little bit off, and the final kick really doesn't have any impact anymore because it's just more noise and more crunch. So I really don't like that final kick. Yeah, let's just continue. Also, there's no real drive elements anymore. There's nothing that's keeping the rhythm going, you know, after or behind the melody. So you might want to add something that just adds a little bit more to that drive of the track as well. Also, I really suggest you look into my reverbs for my reverb for hardstyle video, because your reverb you're using right now is just way too small. So it's creating a narrow space for your lead to be in instead of a really huge space. Okay, so on that outro, I really like the drive that you're making over there. All the kick rolls sound nice together and they just work. So that's good, and that's a really strong point for this whole track. So that's nice, but I do feel like when your kick comes in, the tail is just a little bit too crunchy perhaps. Maybe you used a little bit too much distortion on there. So it's not, to my personal taste, it's not really nice. And yeah, the whole leads that are on top of there are just too weak again, but it's because it's the same leads with the same issues that we had earlier in the track. But overall, I do really like the drive that you're putting in there, and the whole vibe that you're putting down is nice, but it just needs a little bit more refinement on the sound design stage. Next up, we got Turn It Up Louder by Hypnotic Phase.
Let me see, turn it up louder. Let me see, turn it up louder.
Okay, so that's a really nice track with some high intensity, and I really like the piano that's in there, and the whole uplifting vibe that you're putting down is just really nice. I really like that first kick, though I do feel that it maybe has a little bit too much sub compared to the rest of the mix down. So either you want to lift up a little bit more of these breakbeats that you're having on top of there, or just lower that sub a little bit. And when your different punches come in, like the second punch, I think it is, it's really comes short in like the 100 to 200 range. Let's see where it is. Over here, you're really just lacking some activity in that kick. And also that punch feels just a little weak. Also with that final kick that you're having with the more resonant punch, I'd really suggest you put that punch a little bit louder, because the till is just louder than the punch right now. So you might want to balance that again. But the overall vibe and the drive that you're putting down is really nice.
Let me see, turn it up louder.
Okay, so I suggest you try something else with the low end over here. Although the steps that you're making, the octave steps, are really nice, I do feel like either your kick drum could have a little bit of a 808 behind it or something. There's still some room in there, so, and I feel that you could maybe fill up that space a tiny bit more. And also when that lead comes in, try to give it some more extra highs, because it's really dull right now. And yeah, that just doesn't sound as good as it could be, because the melody is nice and the whole sound design is actually quite nice as well, but it's just a little bit too dull, a little bit too mid-heavy. So you might just want to add some highs to make it breathe a little bit more. And I actually think it's quite much highs that you're gonna add. So
let me see, turn it up louder.
Now, of course, I'm adding this only on the total master, but if you'd add this kind of curve to only your leads, like plus 2.4 decibels, that's just going to make a huge change already. And it's already sounding a lot more bright and a lot better. So I really suggest you try that.
music get turning up louder.
I think over here that your kick is just a little bit too polite, in my opinion at least. For this high intensity track, I personally would try to use a kick that's buzzing as much as possible and just has the most aggressive type of punch that you're having, that's just working with the melody as well. Right now, because you're pitching that punch a little bit as well, it just to me sounds a little bit less on the drive side, and I really try to keep that drive as high as possible for this track especially. So I feel you might want to switch that punch up a little bit and maybe make that kick a little bit more aggressive, so that it just feels a little bit more loud. But a part of that, it does really sound nice.
Music get turning up louder.
I feel that if you rebalance those leads a little bit and give them some extra highs, you're really gonna get into a nice track. And I like the whole vibe, and the whole drive is really nice. So that's a great job, and the whole kick rolls and the fills that you're doing at the end are great. So it just sounds really good. I do feel like it maybe could have been balanced a little bit more differently. And maybe you might want to consider giving the piano just a little bit more reverb, or putting it a little bit more in front, I think. A part of that is just a great track. Now I hope you like this and you learned something from this, and hopefully I'll see you back soon again. Cheers!